listen as a church in worship to God. Take this time now to pray and to meet God in the time of worship. This morning, I'm going to change the order of the way I do things a little bit. And again, I want some audience participation this morning. That's a different message. It only has one point in it. You're going to have to look for that specific point. And you're going to have to make an application of it. I want to read to you a very familiar passage of Scripture that comes out of Hebrews, the 12th chapter. The 12th chapter of Hebrews, beginning with verse 1, it said, "Wherefore," and you ought to underline, if you have a highlighter, that word "wherefore," "seeing that we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses." Now, folks, that doesn't mean everybody's watching you that it's passed on. It's speaking about what took place in chapter 11, our Hall of Famers. But what we need to do, it says here in the Scripture, is let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Now, this is what I want you to understand this morning. You have to put your thinking cap on. When we lay aside every weight, what are they talking about? I mean, we hear this in all of these scriptures. They're familiar to us, but just exactly what's it mean? Weight's not always sin itself that we got to deal with. So let's just take an in-depth look here. It can be whatever adds to the difficulty of your progress-making events with Jesus Christ in your everyday life. See what I'm talking about? These weights are not necessarily something that's external on you. It can be the very moment in your life when something has begun to take place. Now, things get in your heart, get in your mind, and get on your nerves. Let's just make the statement the way it really is. And these things are not any of God's purposes in your life. They're just everyday aggravations and fretful things that you have to deal with. Now, they become a weight to you. Now think about what I just said. No matter what it is, it becomes a weight. And if you look in Hebrews chapter 4 and look at verse 14, it says, let us hold fast our profession. Oh God, I love you. But what comes after the but? My life sucks. That's what the kids tell me. God, my life has got so many problems. Does your life really have that many problems? Now, I want to talk about hope, faith, and luck. My son came in and he had a brand new pistol and he wanted to go up to the firing range and try it out. We did. He loved it. I don't think there's one gun ever been made he did. We're coming back to the car. We're having a real good conversation, good fellowship. He says, give me the keys. I'm driving. I handed him the keys. He got in the car. I got in the car and sat down. And I said, wait a minute. Whoa. Any dumb country boy knows the sound of a rattlesnake. I said, that thing sounds like it did a car. I'm in the process of rolling the window up when I looked down. And I had just stepped over a rattlesnake, coiled and ready to strike.
Oh, wow.
Now, a little audience participation here. Let me tell you a little something about luck. There is, if you are a Christian, no such thing as luck.
Amen.
Either God's got you in the hollow of His hands, folks, or you're on your own. Now, let's talk a little bit about this thing called, how do we define hope? Hey, Lord, this is Roy, and God, this is what I want, and I hope you'll do it for me.
And right away.
Sound familiar? Now here's faith. Hey Lord, this is Roy again, and this is what I want. And Lord, you promised. Watch this. You promised to do it. And I can count on your promises, can I? Maybe you grew up in a home, and perhaps you heard this. God will answer your prayers if you have enough faith. Anybody ever heard that? Well, let me ask you a question here this morning. How much is enough?
I have to pray that snake gets down the car.
How much is enough? Let me ask you a question. That's my backup preacher back there. I love that. I love that sound. What about those people that you know that are these incredible Christian people? Now, what do I mean by incredible? I mean, you know, they are so powerful in their prayer life. Now, how many of you remember the E.F. Hutton commercials? You know, out in a football stadium or even in a congested restaurant, if that person said, well, my stockbroker, E.F. Hutton, said there was absolute teetotal silence, even if it was in a football field. Do you ever know these people that pray like that, and when they do, they seem to have God's undivided attention? God pulls His chair right up and listens to them. And what about the person's remarkable story? Doesn't this just shake your very foundations? I lost my job Monday, and I got on my hands and knees and I prayed all day Tuesday, and on Wednesday I had a whole better new new job, closer home, and more money. Well, it never quite worked that way for me. So, my question was, God, what's it going to take to get you involved in my life and get some things done that need to get done in my life? And you know what a wise old preacher said to me? Takes a little confidence, boy. See, being a Christian is a growing matter throughout your entire life. What do you mean, confidence? What do you mean, confidence? Now think about this for a moment. What does that mean? What's confidence mean in your life? Now you have to make some application here this morning. I can't fill in all the blanks, but listen. How do you know God's going to say yes to everything that you want and need? What's the old saying? God answers prayers in 3 ways. What are they? Yes, no, and the one I don't like. Wait. Now, even though I'm confident and trusting that God is going to do for me just exactly what He said He would, God's not a liar. You got to have confidence and trust, is what the old boy told me. You've got to have some kind of a belief system if you have confidence and trust in Jesus Christ. Are you aware of that? Think about that. Boy says to me, I got a brand new car. I have paid for that. I have saved up the money. It is mine, lock, stock, and barrel. I've got gas in it. I even looked under the hood. There's a die-hard battery there, and I am ready to go. I've got a problem, though. Guess what?
Where are the keys?
I can't find the keys. You know what's wrong with Christian people that are like that with their prayer life and with their substance to offer to Christ? They got so much clutter going on in their life and in their mind, and there are so many distractions, they haven't got a clue what they're doing half of the time. Now, that's not the bad. How about this unexplained circumstances in your life? We'll look at that now for a moment. Here's another illustration. Lying and cheating. What were you taught all of your life? Shouldn't lie. There shouldn't be any cheating. Now, how do you react as a Christian when you're faced with a situation like that? I had a job working for Lawyers Title Insurance Corporation up in Washington, D.C. You talk about a country bumpkin, dumber than a post hole. They said, you can be a lawyer. Oh boy, they gave me a job called purchasing agent. All I did was buy pencils and paper. I mean, I was one of them guys walking tall. I was in there with lawyers who were able to argue court cases in the Supreme Court. I'm their purchasing agent. But every now and then, down in that little cubbyhole office, door would open, they'd toss a package over there and said, go out here to 16th and K, get on the bus, and forget about us. Take it down to 24th Street, get off, get in a cab. Go to 2400. Go ahead and see and ask for Mr. So-and-so. If his secretary tells you he's busy, tell him Carter's here. That was comical. Sure enough, buddy. He's expecting me. And he would come to the door, take a package. Sometimes I got a fancy briefcase. Always look good with a briefcase. Finally, Mr. Murray opened the door one day and said to me, You be careful. I said, well, what's the matter? He said, if you only knew. I had no idea, but I can tell you one thing. The money that I was carrying was unbelievable. And back in those days, couriers, I was being used as a courier. People were dying, getting shot down on the street. So they lied to me and used me in a different manner than a courier service. Old dumb country boy. Now folks, here's what I want you to see. When it comes down to lying and cheating and doing wrong in your Christian life, there's an important question you need to address this morning. I had to make up my mind sitting in that office of mine. What am I going to do? They said that's the way business is conducted in the big city. Is that the way we as Christian people conduct ourselves? It wasn't comforting to me saying, oh, well, we like you because you got integrity, old dumb country boy. Now I can either do one of several things. I can either quit, or I can work feeling guilty, or maybe, or just maybe, that's the way it is in life. A little bit dishonest doesn't hurt anybody or anything. Being a little dishonest isn't bad. Stay with me. How many of you remember the commercial? Would I say being what? A little dishonest? See, he fell in love with his wife because she was the lady with the red dress on. I mean, Mama looked good with that red dress on. Now, they've been married 8 years, and she comes into the den where he's watching television. And you can see them love handles. Them buttonholes are now being stressed to maximum capacity, and she says, honey, does this dress make me look fat? A little bit dishonest. I ask you for a little bit of audience participation, and some of you look like you're in a very cautious state right now. Look at your parenting skills. Do you love one of your children more than the other? Is it possible to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Joseph, with his coat of many colors, and his father told the sons, he is the favored one. Now let me look at you. You look at your parenting skills. You come in, your wife is ready. I mean, oh man, you can just look at her and tell that hair's out here, and she's had it. And that young'un of yours has been into mischief, and you're the one that's going to have to correct it. You cannot avoid it. So you go outside, and you get a switch off of that tree, and you come back in and make some